Did you see the YouTube videos of a guy making a real life lightsaber using oxygen and propane? I've not seen that, no. That's quite funny. I mean, it looks like one, but it doesn't behave like one, right? Are there any working Concords? I don't believe so. Full screen and setup. That's the best I can show you. In before the question, why is it not using the whole screen? ECLO should be ashamed of how they display the Concorde. Yep, I completely agree, but then so should BA. And they're the ones responsible for it, right? Concorde 350. That's what we're flying. Concorde was a fad. A fad? A fad? You must be joking. Tell that to the businessman who could go to New York and back in a single day and do business, and they paid to fly in it every week. That was not a fad. That was a solution. It was also a technical marvel. A fad is like a passing fancy, a phase that you go through. Do you have the livery for the Cessna 152? No. We have the Kinga, the TBM, Caravan, and I think he was going to work on the 172. Why did this stop the Discord? You mean the Concorde? The Concorde was stopped for a couple of reasons. It would have come back into service, but then the financial crisis hit. But it was being refitted. But ultimately it's too noisy for today's modern aviation world. The jet engines are very noisy. Is there anybody here who's a bit of an expert on ForeFlight? Because I'm trying to work out. I know that you can get it to show down here what your airspeed and ground speed and stuff is, and I assume you can get it out of the sim. Because Sky Demon shows it, but it's not showing on ForeFlight. Enjoy the rest of your stream and have a good week, sir. D-Storm, are you heading out, mate? Thank you so much for your support this weekend. It's been incredible, and hopefully catch you again real soon. Thank you. Now there are no Concordes flyable because nobody will pay the repair costs. It's the same like the Vulcan. Like the Vulcan used to be flown to air shows and things, but I think the annual cost is like £2 million. I can't imagine what the Concorde would be. So, you know, nobody wants to foot that bill. It's the fifth button at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You legend, thank you. Wait, so what? Oh, is that the virtual? Is that the, yeah, that's the synthetic vision that you have to have a subscription for. What's that one do then? That's better. Because now I've got accurate distance to next, which is cool. See, what I wanted it for is that little cheat box at the bottom right. You see that descent to destination cheat box? That basically tells you, like, if you start descending now, you'll arrive at your destination if you start descending at that rate. So that rate counts up as you get nearer. And of course, when that gets to the number that you want, you can start descending. It's called ShareX, Paul. ShareX. It's an open source solution, completely free, and absolutely fantastic. Yeah, there's no, it doesn't have that on Sky Demon, I don't think. I think they should definitely add it. You're going out for the 19th of the family. Enjoy, James. Yeah, the cool thing about ShareX, apart from it being open source, it has connections to just about everything. It captures video, images, GIFs, whatever you want. And when you move from one PC to another, you can export all of your settings with all the OAuth keys. It'll just export the whole lot, re-import it on the new PC, off you go. Which I think is amazing. It is a little bit complex to set up at first though. There's so many features, you get a little bit, you know, where do I begin? But just begin with the simple stuff. Get it to screenshot, get the menu sorted so you can save it, and then connect it to like your Imager account or whatever. It's such a good solution. Wait, is that snow and ice down there? Can't be, can it? Little white bits? If you get the Air France Concorde crash, that was a final nail in the coffin. Nope, it wasn't, Benzo. It was not, because the Concordes were being after that crash, they grounded the Concordes, and they were all being refitted. And they were literally about 6 months away from being flying again. And then the financial crisis came in 2007, and that was the final nail in the coffin. Because all these super rich customers who basically paid for the Concorde, after 2007, they just weren't there anymore. And they couldn't afford to fly it financially, therefore they scrapped them. It was not that accident that caused it. The accident caused it to go into maintenance and be refitted and safety checked, but the financial crash caused the Concorde to be decommissioned. Oh, cloud. What's weird about the Concorde is, like, when it was first made, the Americans did not want Concorde anywhere near them. If you actually look back at the footage, there were massive protests over in New York. They did not want the Concorde. It was too noisy, and they were just lining up in droves protesting against it. And by the end of it, when Concorde was making its final flight, they were lining up with tears on their faces because the Concorde was never coming back. That's amazing. Oh, that's cool, Kieran. Go, friend, go and watch some videos on the stuff and find out. That's what happens on Twitch as well. Yeah, you change your overlay and people are like, no, you've changed the overlay, I liked it the old way. And then you come to change it again, they're like, no, don't take that away. Well, I've watched documentaries on this stuff, and that's what I remember, so feel free to go and check it out yourselves. The app on the right is FourFlight. I don't know, Vinyl Rabbit. I don't know what the price of a Concorde ticket would be. I mean, even back then, it was, what, 10, 15 grand or something for first class? I can't imagine what it would be now. The thing is, again, we now live in a different time, a different world, you know. We're much more connected with technology. There isn't quite so much demand to fly to New York and back for a meeting. I mean, you say we don't need to fly anywhere, but you kind of still do. Like, you really, if you're trying to negotiate a deal, you still can't beat person to person, right? It's just not the same over a Zoom meeting. 12 grand first class. Oof. I would have loved to have at least got on one of those. You know, I think they started doing flights. Hang on, isn't this? They were doing that this week, where they're doing local flights in. What do they call it? Is it BA you're doing it? Flights to nowhere, where you can basically pay to get on the plane, and it just flies off for like an hour and then comes back. You just get on the plane for a bit of fun. I can't remember. If they did that on the Concorde, I would love to have done that. Was it Qantas who were doing it? Qantas in Australia. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Because I think that will keep planes running, you know? I'd pay for that. I'd definitely have a go with that. Take a flight to nowhere. I do that all the time in the little planes, so why not do it in the big plane? You went on Concorde to JFK and back, via staff discount back then was something like pay 10% of the tip. Wow, 10%. Well, exactly. The pilots stay current, the passengers get to have a fun flight, and the planes stay moving instead of grounded. It sounds like a win-win to me. They also did some light flyovers for some places. That'd be so good. Yeah, if I lived in Australia, I'd go on one of them and go on a sightseeing trip over the Great Barrier Reef. I'd so do that. You're going to finish your ATCO training this Wednesday. Trunk boats. Good luck, sir. Yeah, I think if you went for a Concorde 2.0, I think, yeah, it's kind of like what Virgin Galactic were looking at. Like, basically going into lower orbit. Like the suborbital flying, where you can get around the other side of the Earth in 6 hours or whatever. That's what you're after. People would definitely pay for that. Flying to New York and back in a day is not so important, but flying to the other side of the world in just a few hours, you know, if I wanted to go to Australia and I could do it in 6 hours instead of 22, I'd definitely do it. And they probably throw in a free zero-G trip as well. What on earth is that? It was booked out within 5 minutes of going on sale. Bots. The bots bought the tickets. There's a quieter SST X-plane being built in the USA. You just have to get used to being upside down. You see, I mean, I'd love to go and see Australia and New Zealand, but that flight there just puts me off so much. I think I'd go crazy on a plane for 20. I mean, I was struggling with the 10-hour flights. I don't know what I'd be like with 20. I'd just be like, get me off. But if I could take a 6-hour lower orbit, I'd do that. Vegemite and all. Oh yeah. I'll probably go when it's not summer though, because it's a bit too hot in summer. Maybe like spring. Springtime would be nice. Looks like we're flying into some weather here. What about a zip wire that goes around the earth? Sure, that sounds safe. It's not a continuous 22-hour flight, depends on the company. It's still a very long flight. I know what you're saying. You can take a stopover, or I think the it was the carrier that goes direct to Australia now in one trip. It's still a lot of flight. It's still sat in a tube for a very long time. Joseph Dawson, thank you for 8 months. Currently stuck isolating in your uni flat. Oh boy. Well, Twitch will keep you sane, mate. Complaining about the Aussie weather, it's not that hot in Sydney. Dude, you're not in the middle of summer yet. You give it like 3 months and you won't be saying that. I saw the temperatures last year in Melbourne. Well, I don't know, Dave, if I was going to fly that kind of distance, there's no way I could do it in economy. That's an absolute must. Maybe like premium economy. If you could do first class and you can lie down and sleep, then I think that's totally doable. It's the not being able to lie down for 20 hours. That's the bit I wouldn't want, you know, just sat down. Reclining, you can only go like 20 degrees maximum. If you ever go premium economy anyway, if the flight is over 3 hours. Well, whenever I've flown to the States now, I went economy once, never, ever, ever again. I'd rather not fly than fly economy in a long haul. I'm 6'3", I can't deal with the leg space. I can put up with it for like 3 hours and that's it. You're 6'7", 240 pounds and flying even business class is painful. Oof. I mean, business class, you at least get the knee room. Even when you're 6'7", you get the knee room, but it tends to be like the width of the seat and the amount that you can recline. I can't talk. The amount that you can recline, that's the problem. You flew from Germany to California, 747, 17 hours and landed with less than 1 hour of reserve fuel. Oof. Well, Dave, you can find prices very cheaply these days. Where are you flying? We are flying from Carve to K-Sux, and K-Sux is on the information. That is K-Sux, which is the Sioux Gateway, Brigadier General Bud Dayfield. It's got the most ridiculous name of an airfield. And then at the end it says bracket sucks. Which I think is amazing. Speaking of charts, because we won't be long until we're descending, where do I want to be? Initial approach fix of Fexat. 3,100 feet. So we need to approach our fix. There's Tommy there. Initial approach fix at Tommy. And Tommy is here, 2,498 feet. Interesting. Sioux City's near you. Nice. What's the elevation on the field? 1,098 feet elevation. 1,295 decision height, which is 40 above. Blimey, that is very, very low. 40 feet above the field decision. So anyway, we're coming at Fexat and then we're on a radial before we turn one final course to Tommy. And at Tommy we want to be at 2,600 just before. But they actually have a minimum altitude of 3,100 feet here. So I'd suggest we want to be at Fexat at 3,100. So we're going to have to start descending pretty soon. So we're 28. Ooh, lightning, did you see that? Those clouds don't look like they give lightning off, to be fair. We just saw lightning there, bizarrely. They don't look like they'd give off lightning, do they? To me. I'm no weather expert, but yeah. If you came to Australia, could you fly on your license? I don't know, Furphy. I think I'd probably have to fill in some application forms. You know, like 2 months in advance. I'd probably have to fill in some application forms with the authorities in Australia, who would then verify my license with the CAA in the UK. And then probably get some kind of form to say, yes, you can. I think my license, my EASA license, would allow me to fly in Australia, but I feel fairly certain I'd have to fill in a form beforehand. You know, we do like to fill in paperwork when we fly. So we need to lose about 25,000 feet. So we're basically looking for a descent rate of about, I'd say about 1,200 at least before we descend. That's the only problem with the Kingo is the wing, the actual engines on the wing just spoil the view, don't they? Just make sure you can understand the lingo. Have you yet been in zero visibility IFR in real life? Only when I was instrument training, and therefore had to put on the cone of shame, so I literally can't see anything out the window and fuel it entirely on instruments, which is the same thing, zero visibility. I even like took off in zero visibility conditions. That was amusing. But yeah, you can't do that without a safety pilot, you know, if you're not IFR rated in particular. What the weather's like at the destination then? .150 at 10 knots, visibility 10 statute miles, sky clear. Interesting. Okay, well according to this, the weather's fine down there. Is landing on instruments only part of the IFR training? Yes, like... So some of the flying that you'd have to do would be... The basic stuff would be... The basic stuff would be like level turns on instruments, yeah? That's like your basics. Level turns, climbs and descents, all the things that you would do on a PPL, but doing it under instrument conditions when you can't see outside. So that's part of the training. Other parts of the training would be instrument failure. So what happens if your attitude indicator fails? What happens if your DI fails? Like literally flying under instrument failure conditions. That's the second thing you'll do. The third thing would then be stuff like VOR approaches, holding patterns. Got a lightning down there. Flying holding patterns, all that kind of stuff. And then doing the, you know, ILS landings or VOR approaches or even NDB approaches. I think you still have to do those. So there's quite a bit to it, which is why, you know, for a full instrument rating, you're talking as many hours as it was to get your PPL in the first place. What is going on down there? Like carnage? Some crazy weather going on. I think the lightning is a known bug issue. Yeah, those clouds are not really lightning worthy, I don't think. They don't look like they've got enough energy to me. I mean, it's fun, but it just doesn't seem right. Whoa, you saw lightning then? It went like 10 miles across the sky. No, it's not why people buy Rex. People buy Rex because they thought it was good. Have some serious performance work to get this running on consoles. Flight Simulator is very CPU bound. Well, they should be on PC, shouldn't they? Stop being console peasants. There you go. When I get my 5000 series CPU, that'll cost more than any console out there. So, yeah, you get what you pay for, don't you? I mean, no, seriously. Consoles, like, consoles, I'm not knocking consoles, but if you look at the price point of a console, it's not even the price of the CPU. So you can't really expect too much out of it. They do amazing for what they do for the money. Like, they're like mini PCs now. But that's all they are, mini PCs. Sinus Tech, thank you for 2 months. RRKR, thank you for 2 years with Prime. Thank you for the golden acorn there. We'll get back in the cockpit now. It looks like the weather has in fact cleared up. .740 descent, so yeah, we're not that far off where we want to be. I mean, mental maths, quick maths, about 75 to FEXAT is where we want to be roughly going down. But it doesn't matter if we're overhead at FEXAT at like 5k. We want to be 3300 around this curve here. Also, are you multi-engine rated? Me, no. No. I don't have any desire to do multi-engine ratings, and the reason is because I'm going to be the one paying the bill when I fly. Like, if I was flying commercially, somebody else is paying that bill, I'm okay with 2 engines. If I'm paying that bill, I'd rather have 1 engine because it's not twice the price. So I don't have any need to do multi-engine stuff. Yeah, you're trying to get into PC gaming. So much to learn. Consider it an adventure. Wait, is that place called Sucks Falls? Oh, there you go, Sioux Falls. Like Sucks Falls. Yeah, if you fall there, it sucks, right? 780 descent. Well, that's to destination, so we need to allow for that. I just hope we're okay on fuel because we were quite limited on how much we could load. We should be alright looking at this. Got 800 pounds of fuel remaining. We're burning 49 an hour times 2. This is 100 an hour. Should be fine.
Nation ATIS is 119.45.
Thank you. Good morning from Redmond. We're flying into Sioux something international. It has a really long name. In over 2 weeks' time, you have to go out of town for work. The point I had to get a hotel room for the night. Don't forget your masks and your gloves and your hand gel. And don't forget your social distancing. Do you reckon there won't be as many colds and flus this year? I reckon that has to be the case. There can't be as many colds and flus this year because people aren't mingling as much. And with all the protection we're wearing and all the social distancing, I don't see how the germs can spread as much. Monju, you are most welcome, thank you. Nothing has stopped Londoners. Well, in Chelmsford, people are still going around Chelmsford, but They've actually closed off sections of road so people can spread out on the footpath. It's a funny thing, isn't it, Prince? Like Prince B, that at the start of this, they were telling you to wear gloves, and now they're saying don't. Because gloves spread things. Evil Dog gifted a sub to Gingerbread Beard. Thank you very much, Evil Dog. Same reason why chefs never wear gloves. Makes sense. I mean, they wear gloves in the surgery, but that makes sense because then you don't get blood all over the hands, right? But then they throw the gloves away. Also, the gloves just end up in the sea and on rivers, so it's not exactly great for the environment. For some reason, the snapping sound when you put gloves on makes me nervous. I want to go and get out some gloves now just to make that snapping sound for you. But last stream you're able to catch live. You're flying back home to New Zealand on Thursday, Neo. Okay. Well, hopefully you can wake up in the middle of the night and tune in. The flu was down 80% in Australia this year. That makes sense. You're a chef and you only wear gloves on butchering protein and preparing ready-to-eat food. Because if I walk into Subway and ask for a sandwich, I'm pretty certain they always put gloves on whenever they pick food up. Just tell the doctor not to use gloves. Okay. Well, they used to. Last time I went to Subway, they definitely used gloves. Is it the same part? I think so. I think they leave them on the counter, and then they put them on when they do things and then take them off again. I'm not sure, actually. I need to watch. Yeah, I assumed he meant meat. You're supposed to change glove every 15 minutes or when moving to a different task. Blimey. This is getting closer and closer to our descent rate, so it is working correctly. Yeah, you're just asking for a friend, Matt. Yeah? Hiding a body, just asking for a friend. Yeah, what's the... should I be wearing gloves when I'm hiding bodies, asking for a friend? Six cases of gloves a week. Oh my god. Jaguar, I've not fired up SPAD in a while. I heard that SPAD was supporting the Stream Deck, but I've not tried it. Your employer made it mandatory to wear gloves and masks. I clean delivery vans and petrol stations. Yep. It's annoying when they do that. Well, at some point, Airbus, yes. You see, principally, I do wonder where all these gloves end up, you know, from an environmental point of view. $75 away from Fexat. I think it's time to start going down. Set 4,000 initially. The latest Logitech drivers now support the Cytec displays, apparently. You would hope so, since they've owned the company for about 4 years. When I tried it a couple of weeks ago, Popsicle, didn't work for me, but it did work for some other people. But then SPAD is way more feature-rich than just the drivers for those things. You got your honeycomb yesterday and you love it, Pav. Nice. What, your yoke? Nice. SPAD.next is a software tool that basically, I can't remember what SPAD stands for. It's Cytec Panels something something. I think they've actually renamed it. I think they've taken the word Cytec out of it. Originally it was called Cytec Panels and Displays, something like that. But I think they've taken the word Cytec out because Logitech bought them. And they just changed it to some weird name, but kept the SPAD.next name. I think it was called .next because the person who originally wrote it stopped developing it, and then this group of people picked it up, continued development, and called it .next. So it just has this horrible name. Yeah, there you go. Simulation Panel Advanced Drivers Next Generation. It's a horrible name. They really need to change it. Just call it something else. Zed Bruna, thank you for 26 months. Honestly, you just call it Spud. Spud is a good name. Use the SPAD Stream Deck beta stuff, it's great. What can you do with it, Brakeman? What can you do with your Stream Deck? Can you get information out and display it via SPAD? Or is it just input? You just got an email delayed till late November. Dude, mine says December, so count yourself lucky. Korean Insincere, thank you for the biddies. Your sister's dog is called Spud. I love that. I hope he's like a bulldog or something. Come here, Spud. Just genius name. You can set up the full auto park panel and see what's on and off. So can it, for example, can you make it like show if the yaw damper is on or off? So you can like highlight it if it's on, that kind of thing. Nice. And can you get it to display information? Like, could you get a button to display your current ground speed as a number? There's no data yet, right? You're asking for that. Yeah, that's what, like, somebody did a GitHub project for that, and it can actually extract data via SimConnect and display it on the panel. OLED or QLED. Isn't QLED a Samsung proprietary thing for I can't remember now. Something's not right. They should be picking up the VOR by now. Active frequency 110.5. You see, that's wrong. Active frequency 116.5, which should be the Sioux City VOR, according to this. That's showing nav 2, so why is it not capturing that, I wonder? .3, which is the localizer. I would have thought it was in range of that VOR by now. Right, 20,000. I want to get down to 4, so we've got 16 to go. So 48 nautical, if you multiply that by 3, which takes us roughly to FEXAT. So we'll be at 4,000 at FEXAT, but we'll still be doing this kind of speed. But that's fine. Fuel's looking good. One was 6.5. Yeah. That's what I've got it on. Nav 2. Active frequency 116.5. But it's not picking it up in Nav 2.
Altitude. Nearest altimeter 2977.
We got 2972 here. I mean, we're definitely in range of that VOR, so something's not right. Blimey, look at this place. Holy smoke, look at that. It is just a grid. I bet you the land sale around here as well is just sold on these rectangles, isn't it? I bet you just buy one of these rectangles. I think they sent me a key for Rex, but I've not tried it myself yet, Eve Killer. You just remembered you used to have a cat named Chips. Now your sister had a dog called Spud. You need to get a pet called Mash. You need to get a fish. Get a fish called Mash. Chips is a good name for cats. I don't know, actually. Don't know if I like that. I mean, cats don't even know what they're called anyway, do they? No, Char, I'm not. It's never going to answer anyway, no. I mean, if I call my dog, like, he runs over. Get a cat named Crisp. I think this nav's broken, you know. I'm thinking that the VOR that should be here is not it's not on frequency properly. I'm kind of worried about the localizer being on frequency now. Actually, how do you do the, on Garmin's, they have like the nearest function. How do you do that in this thing? Direct to nearest VOR. 116.5. Look at that, it's there. I don't want to insert into flight plan. 116.5. So it knows about it. It's in the active frequency list, but it's not enunciating it. Your navs are turned off. What do you mean? They're displaying down here. What do you mean they're turned off? Blue Army, how you doing? I think these are in up, aren't they? Normal range for VOR. Well, at this altitude, we should have no problem seeing it. The panel's set to FMS, yeah. That's what you mean. Click on audio, then on your nav radios. They're enabled. I never turned them off. You can cycle it. It's a bit weird. There is no general rule for VORs. They have different class. If you look at a VOR, it'll have a different class depending on how powerful it is, and then it comes down to like visibility and where you are and what altitude you're at and what the weather's like. It's really, you know, it's not a simple thing. But at this distance, we can definitely see it. They should be off, yeah. There's no... It's not even enunciating anything whatsoever. Landing lights are on. Likes Technology, how you doing? It is super flat round here, isn't it? Eh? Do they know what a hill is? It's incredible. Probably a different frequency in Microsoft Flight Sim. We've had that before. Well, that's why I checked in the panel to see what it was in the panel in the nearest list, and it definitely showed it in the nearest list as being 116.5. So if it was in the sim wrong, it would show the frequency differently. I mean, it's not the VOR is not critical to what we're doing, luckily, but it does beg the question: is the localizer working? Okay, it's just kicked in. 36 nautical miles away, and it can see the VOR now. 36 nautical miles. In this, no. That's like the weakest VOR station ever. Well, no, it never gives you the range of VORs. It gives you the class. Because nobody can guarantee the range. Like they can certainly give you some minimums, but that's about it. To get this landed. Almost at 4,000. Next step down will be 3,100. Windows Stewie, thank you for 3 months. There's 4K. Let's back off slightly. It's going to keep the speed up as best as possible. I've noticed that the VNAV tends to sort of, it levels out too quickly, like a few hundred feet above, and then it really slowly descends down. It doesn't like path properly. Alright, 3,100. We need to be at 3,100 as we make the turn here. Yes. Well, last time, if you was here when I started on my PPL Kodiak, that would have been early 2017, and I got it in September 2018. Okay, we are rolling round. It's gonna overshoot because I'm keeping the speed quite high, but that's fine. It seems to shudder quite a bit when turning. Just a little bit, doesn't it? That's weird. Right, let's get it down to 3100. I assume so, Captain Monty. Just make sure you've got the generic aircraft option turned on. That helps a lot when you get the 747s come past. Mind you, it does seem a bit like turbulence here for some reason. Okay. It's identified Sioux City, but that should say SUX, I think. Like that does. IOIQ. Oh yeah, that's correct actually. There you go. Localizer IOIQ. Right, so we've got the localizer, which is good. Just tracking around that corner now. Keeping the speed up. And then when we get to this turn here, we'll slow down to 180. Make a turn, arm the approach. Capture the localizer here, then we'll arm the approach, slow down, go flaps one gear down. Get established. Ugh, I hate it when the camera's just so low. USA Ordnance of 1785 land was surveyed in townships 6 by 6 miles square, each divided into 36 1 square mile sections, 640 acres apiece. The boundaries align with the meridians of longitude and parallels of latitude. That makes sense. At least they did it in something that made sense. Right, so we'll put the heading... Whoops. We'll put the heading bug on 133, which is the inbound course, so that as we start approaching this left turn, I'll put it on heading mode, but then ask it to capture the localizer. We'll see what happens. It's actually quite hilly round here if you look. You've got these subtle bumps. I'll be taking a break when I land the plane in about 10 minutes. I'm guessing this is why it has a minimum of 3100 here. Actual airfield should be about there somewhere. Heavily thinking of getting your PPL, you found that it's really love flying that much. The best thing you can do, Engel Tinker, is go and get a couple of trial lessons. One from like 2 different schools is the best advice I can give you, because the trial lesson will let you know what it's like to fly a real plane. It's either going to put a big smile on your face, or you're going to come away thinking, that's not for me. But by doing 2, the second time you'll get a better opinion from the first one. And also 2 different schools, you'll get a feel for which might give you a better schooling in your style, if you see what I mean. So that's, and at least if you take the trial lesson as well, you can then decide whether to go on with the PPL and not be sat here wondering. Right, let's get the speed down to 180. Because flying in a sim and flying a real plane, you don't get thrown around in a sim and feel it, So it's not for everybody. Is that what I did? Well, when I first went for my trial lesson, I didn't enjoy it. And I almost stomped on the idea and went to a different school and had a very different experience. And that's why I'm suggesting that you go for 2 different schools, just in case the first one is not what you want, kind of thing. Right, we're going to go heading bug, heading mode, the FMS on lock 1. We should see that green needle start coming across. There it goes, right, nav mode. Glide slope indicators active. Wow, what's this valley? Boken McMowen, thank you very much for 10 months. Right, so we're on the localizer now. Got 15 to run. Textures look low. I think it might be the light. Oh yeah, the actual contouring on the valley is a bit weird. Getting chucked around. Airfields in sight. The display is giving stability issues. I noticed the ones on the top of the yoke are not on. That's because I'm not running SPAD at the moment. I haven't turned it on. Right, gears coming down. Approach is armed. 3 greens, flap speed, flaps 1 going in. And we're looking for that capture. There it is, captured. Yeah, these water features are where the mapping is got the most problems. Like waterfalls especially are really bad. But it's the terrain elevation is where they struggle with the water features. And you can see it sometimes gets little gaps in the scenery, or you got floating buildings and stuff. I think there's like it's one of those things that the AI, they can't automate it very well, so they need to go in and manually correct it. But, you know, you think about how many valleys and rivers they have. That's a lot of work. Okay, dumping in full flaps. Yeah, the bridges as well. Most bridges are really bad.
Mile final runway 13.
Right. My aircraft. TBM's your favourite. TBM's a nice plane. Bit of a crosswind going on here. Wow, look at that shelf. Blimey. This huge, like, valley right in front of the airfield. That's awesome. One second, Blackbird. Whoa. Oof, that wind shear. Whoa. That actually happens. You got to be careful of these, like, bushes and trees on final. It really messes with the air. There, you can see the crosswind. Look at it. Floaty, floaty, floaty. This plane does not want to land.
Landing time logged. Landed at Kilo Sierra Uniform X-Ray, Sioux Gateway / Colbug Day Field.
We're down. That was a handful. Lights, flaps cleaned up.
Approaching runway 1735. Runway 1735.
Not really sure we're supposed to park here, to be honest. Yeah, we'll stick it over here. I'm already late.
Engine off, time logged. End of flight, registered in on-air company.
Nice. Let's get paid. So we got 11.5 for that one. And the company got 38 grand minus 11.5, so made tidy 27 profit or something. So it's up to $250,000. Nice. Right then. That is it for part one. I'm going to go and take a break now, grab some food, and then when I come back, we'll be doing the group flights around Japan. So hopefully, I will see you then. Blackmut said, another month of great content. Thanks for all the hard work you put into this channel. Thank you, Blackmut, for 82 months, sir. And Sergeant Stupid says, over 1 year's worth of being subbed. I haven't been watching live streams for a while, but often catching the replays when I can. Still enjoying the content. Keep it up. Thank you for 13 months. Appreciate the support. Thank you. I'll be back in about 45 minutes, guys. Get yourself set up if you're joining the group flight. If you're just going to watch and hang out, well, you've got 45 minutes to grab some food, cup of tea, stretch your legs, get your snacks, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll be in Japan in about 45 minutes. So that's it from me. If you're heading out for the evening, enjoy your evening, and I shall see you all soon. Take it easy. Bye for now.